Hi guys, I hope you're good since last video. My dead Kubernetes cluster is back to life, but it is still very old and runs behind in versions. The latest version is the 1.32 and mine is at 1.27. I'm going to upgrade it to the version number 1.28 as the Kubernetes documentation recommends to do it like that, one minor version at a time. A chill moment in which you can open your terminal and follow along. As always, it is raw and you will see what goes wrong sometimes, but we still follow a step-by-step logical process. I've left a link in the bio for the students who want to learn AI by doing, beginner devs who want to propose some services, or business owners who want to do it by themselves. It is free. There is a guide PDF to download and the video. Link is in the pinned comment and video description. Get it now from our hub, Shaker Houses. Also, please like and subscribe. Thank you for your support. Let's get started. Okay, so let's open our terminal. We're gonna check the kubelet config. Okay, so this is the folder varlib kubelet, and inside the varlib kubelet you get the config YAML. You open it or you check. I'm just going to grab that line because you need to make sure, so it's not C drive, it's a C group. That is a systemd. Okay, so use systemd, don't use Docker. Systemd will be available, there won't be any issues of like Docker becoming closed source, for example. So let's check the versions here. Containerd, that's what we're using. We are at version, I will check the version just after, but you see here how you can upgrade it. You come in this page, you check the versions, you take the dates, okay, if it is LTS or not, and you check the matching Kubernetes version. Here we have from 129 to 132. For example, for 129 you have version 1.7. You see to 1.627 is also accepted. For 1.30 you have, it starts at version 1.7, you have 2 also, the latest version. Okay, 1.26 and more. So this is concerning us. So 1.7 might be the right version for us, because I told you in the introduction that the cluster is at version 1.27. Okay, so we have 1.621 for Containerd. So every single component we will be checking the version. There's a range that is acceptable. So before upgrading you need to plan. And here we're going to go for this one, 1.7 for Containerd. You see here 1.7 also, it goes through to the latest version. So we will be able to keep the same version. So I'm going to show you how to upgrade it to the latest version. I mean to 1.7 at least. So the cluster state. kubectl get nodes, we check the nodes. 1 controller node and 2 worker nodes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually deploy some pods in the cluster to see them running, so that when we're doing the upgrade, we see that how Kubernetes is reacting to the fact that we stop one node, for example, and start doing our upgrades. What is going to happen to those pods? So this one here, so it's not create, it's create, but I need to make the namespace first, and after to create the deployment. So we just deploy Nginx. It's lightweight, and we will see the behavior of Kubernetes during the upgrade. So we can check here the pod, just one pod that I might scale. So we have different pods on different nodes. I'm going to just scale it to 3. So kubectl scale deployment Nginx, -n in the namespace Nginx, and the replicas, we get 3 replicas. Controller, node 2 and node 1, so they all have 1 replica. So I'm allowing pods to be deployed on the controller node because it's a very small cluster. But usually you don't allow pods to be deployed on the controller nodes. And you have more than 1 controller node. You have an in-pair number of controllers. So here I'm going to expose the deployment so that we can use our internet browser just to check at every single step that it works. So kubectl expose deployment Nginx in the namespace Nginx. Type node port 80. So this will be the port of the pod, service to pod. And after we're going to check what node port we got opened. So automatically Kubernetes is going to provide a node port for us. So we get the services in the namespace Nginx, and we see here 3689. Okay, so we just go localhost. We're going to connect on that port. So let's write localhost properly so that we see Nginx is working. Okay, so we will be coming back to this just to check that it's still working. Let's clear the screen. Please like and subscribe during the break. Controller node upgrade. So let's start with the controller node. If you have several controllers, you do those one by one. Here, because we have only one controller node, you will need to do it first, and after there's a little trick in order to get it upgraded at the end, because it's the cluster will be down actually, because the controller is down. Okay, that's the state of the nodes. After we're going to use the command kubectl cordon. So cordon is to put it, to schedule it. You see, scheduling disabled to prepare the node to be just turned down, to not work with the cluster anymore. We're going to drain it. We're going to get rid of all the pods, ignoring the daemon sets. You need this option. Okay. And empty dirs or delete empty dir data. So now all the kube system, the core components, core DNS, Calico, API server, and so on are going to be moved, even Nginx, to the other nodes. sudo apt-mark unhold kubeadm. So hold was to make sure that, so I do an upgrade after, but you hold it so that the version doesn't change accidentally. Keep control on it, and when you want to upgrade, you need to unhold so that you can actually upgrade the version. Same for the other components. So here you can go through the documentation, upgrading kubeadm, and it shows you the different versions. I'm checking on 128, even if I'm going to, so I'm going from 127 to 128. Let me reopen the IDE. And after I'm going to here delete etc apt source list, Kubernetes list. Okay, because I got some issues with that. After I'm going to show you what was initially. So you need to provide the right repo, and after to add the keys, and after to update apt. You might see some error messages. Wait just a few seconds. You can wait with me. I don't need to fast forward this part. So you might be doing the same on your terminal at the moment. Maybe your computer is a bit has more power. Okay, so I got an error because apt Kubernetes Xenial release no longer has a release file. But we keep going. It's gonna work after. So those are the files that you need to check. containerd-conf, that there is overlay on the BR net filter. You need to pause the video and check the commands that I have entered into the terminal. Check the swaps also. You need to make some changes to it. But normally this is done when you have created the cluster initially. So I've done it already. Same for the IP tables here. Everything needs to be set like that. So keep a record of that. Just gonna zoom in a bit. etc sysctld kubernetes conf. Okay, so you need to check those. And after sudo sysctl --system, and it's going to be taking into consideration all those changes. After sudo apt cache Madison kubeadm, and you see here this address in green on the right side, https pkgs.k8s, that's what you need to have in the file. It's very important. So that's what I had initially, apt Kubernetes Xenial main, and I have changed it for the second line that you see here. So you get rid of the first line, change it for this one here. That's how you do. And after you use the command, the Madison command, and you will get the versions available of kubeadm. Otherwise you could get some trouble. So I got some troubles. That's why you see my terminal is like that, because I had to figure out where is the right repo. Okay. So here we're going to do the same. We're going to do apt-mark unhold for the other components. So kubeadm unhold, this we've done it already. After we change the repository, just to have the right file, and to be able to pull up those versions, to be able to access to those, we need to have the right repository. After we run sudo apt cache madison kubeadm, and that's how we can see all the versions available. Okay, you see it goes very far. So if you have a very old cluster, you can still upgrade it following this process. So I'm going to do also kubectl and kubelet, but first we're going to do kubeadm, and after you just install it, and that's the version that we have, 128.15-1.1. And now it's going to start doing the upgrade, so pulling this version, but it's not going to upgrade yet. We need to run some different commands to apply it to the cluster. Now what we're doing, we are just downloading all the dep files that we will need to make this upgrade. So you see here the repositories, v1 1.28, so the CRL tools are coming with that, tools, container runtime interface, and we're going to wait a few seconds. Okay. Now we're going to mark unhold. Now hold kubeadm. Okay. kubeadm version, I check, 128.15. Okay, so it has been upgraded, but is not yet applied to the cluster. Okay, so that's why now I can hold the version, so it won't change anymore, because we have the version in our node available, and after we're going to be applying to the cluster. So now I'm going to do the same. Kubelet and kubectl, I had hold the versions, so I had make sure that those versions can't change, and now I'm going to unhold those versions, kubelet and kubectl, and after I'm going to just chain here the commands to, after having unholded those two components, kubelet and kubectl, I'm just going to use the same version. So there is a ranges of version acceptable. You can go 2 versions, 3, but 3 versions older than 128, for example here. But the documentation is recommending us to not go more than 1 version older. Here we're just matching the version. That's what I prefer to do, if the version is available. So here I'm just going to check all the versions is 1.27. You see Kubernetes, that's the kubelet. So it had also the same version as the cluster. So the initial version of the cluster was 1.27. Kubelet also was at 1.27. kubectl, you see 1.27 also. And here I'm going to be upgrading those versions to 1.28.15. Same as kubeadm. So here I'm just reading what is written at the end of the output of the installation of kubeadm. But I'm going to see if it's going to work. And after I'm just going to chain it and hold those versions. If it doesn't work, it means that I need to add the -1.1, but I'm not sure yet. So we're going to test it like that and see if it works. I'll put a little Y so that we don't get prompted. It's just going to do the installation. We accept the packages, whatever the size is. So unhold OK. Here we got an error. Okay, that version is not found. So I might need to precise everything. So this, I don't need to do it anymore because we have already unhold. This command had worked perfectly. So we need to work from here. And just do 1.28 like that to see if it is able to get the version. No. Okay, so I have no choice. I will have to use the same. Let's do apt cache Madison for each of those kubelet first, so that I can see how it is written. Okay, so here we can see it's written the same way. There's a dash 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, and so on. Here. You see? So I take the latest. So it's matching the version of kubeadm, what is good. So we'll get the same versions for all of those components. Okay, just copy and paste here. 1.28.15 dash 1.1. Okay, now it's picking up on those versions to upgrade it, and we're gonna wait a few seconds together until it's done. After that, it's gonna be holding those versions. So it's gonna be making sure that kubelet and kubectl versions won't change. And it's gonna stay at 1.28.15 until next upgrade. It's better to have control on it and to do it manually, or to have a script running. So here we're doing everything manually so that we can understand also how it goes. You see, for example, the repository URL had changed. But when I do the Madison command, I see that it's Kubernetes Xenial main. So if someone knows why is it different, just comment in the comment section and help us. So kubelet version 1.28.15 has been upgraded. And here we're gonna check kubectl. Oh, this one is 1.27. But the client is 1.28, so it has been upgraded. So the kubectl means the server is not upgraded because the cluster hasn't been upgraded yet. I didn't apply the upgrade to the cluster yet, so that's why you see the server at 1.27. Okay, so here we are 1.26 and more. We have upgraded Containerd to 1.7. It's an LTS version. It goes to next year, the 10th of March, that's good. And it's accepting all the version until 1.32. Okay, so this is the documentation. Just go through those docs. You see I have several tabs open. So just check the documentation to see how it goes with your version of Kubernetes. So here I'm going to do the upgrade. We are at 1.6. That's what we've seen before. So here I'm just going to do it like that. I don't know how to do it, so I just enter it intuitively. So maybe it's just Containerd. Okay, so what is good now is that it's giving us the command and telling us how to do it. So that's the way to do it apparently. We need to use this version here, 1.7.25-1. I believe so. Let's try again. So here there's dashes. Sometimes there are some dashes, sometimes not. So 1.26.21, this is our version. Let me try with the numbers they give us. 1.7. Okay, so we need to use .io. Containerd.io. Okay, now it's working. That's good that they have a nice error output. It's very helpful. We don't need to go search through internet. We have everything here. Okay, now we're performing this upgrade. We just wait a few seconds. It's gonna be quick. So we have cordoned the node, and after we have drained the node. So all the pods are evacuated. Just the daemon sets, those we can ignore those. And after we have unhold all the versions to be able to do those versions upgrades, we have pulled those new versions, made the upgrades of the different components, and after we have hold those versions so they never change. Okay, for Containerd, I don't need to hold it because the 1.7 is just it's okay for my version now to the end, and after I'm gonna apply. So sudo kubadm upgrade plan. So it's not yet apply. I say apply, but it's not yet. This is just upgrade plan. We're making the plan of it. So we're checking if it's pickups on it. So we can't run the command kubadm upgrade plan because the controller is down and I have only one controller. So we need to uncordon the controller. So to make it available to the cluster. Okay. After we can restart Kubelet and Containerd as we have installed the new versions, just to make sure that the cluster can run properly. And now we can check what's the state of the cluster. Not ready. So controller is not yet ready. We have to maybe just wait a bit. We can check the state, the status of the different components. Maybe in the meantime it's going to be, you can see the version on the side, which has changed. Okay, Containerd is on. Let's see Kubelet. Kubelet is on. No errors. I can see error updating here. Unable to update. There are some errors actually. But that's normal because the cluster wasn't running. But I had uncordoned it. I'm just going to check the journal because I see some errors. So journal u kubelet, that's the service we're checking. N -n, the 20 last line, and no pager so that we can see the end of the line. Config map, error of previous attempts, TLS, handshakes. Okay, so it's trying to run. So we're gonna get it running just automatically. This is normal to have some errors because the cluster was down. So we can go and check after that. Okay, kube system, all the certs, config map, TLS check, timeout. For sure there will be some timeouts for Calico also. The Kubernetes services endpoint as well. So all the services are down, that's normal. We check on the pods. Okay, now all the pods are running. That means that the controller is working because we can get the pods. Yes, I can see on the right side, the controller is back to life. Okay, so you just need to wait a few seconds. Now that the controller is back, we can see the version which has changed on the side. But we're gonna still do the right command that you have to do. Normally you need to have more controllers. So you don't need to use the trick here and cordon, and after you just run here sudo kubadem upgrade plan. You're running that so that you have this new version available so that all of the other nodes can pull the version upgrade from this node, okay? From this controller node, because we're not running the same commands on the controller on the worker nodes. There's just one command which is different, the kubadem one. So here the current version 128. So those are the versions. Kubelet. We have two 128, which are the worker node, and one which is the controller node. Those are the different components. Versions haven't changed yet. Okay, so we're at 1.27. On here they're just giving us the hint. So you already know what is the next command. Kubadem upgrade apply. So here we're using upgrade apply on the controller node, and later on the worker node we will be using kubadem upgrade node. So they're going to be pulling the version 1.28.15 from the controller node directly. Okay, so here you get a very nice structured output explaining you everything, which is pretty amazing. I'm just going to apply this command with a sudo kubadem upgrade apply version 1.28.15. Okay, you can look at this config. I'm just going to go yes. Yes, I'm sure. So the upgrade will be effective from now on, as I have validated that I want the cluster version to be upgraded to 1.28. So it has picked up on kubadem version 1.28, but the cluster was still one minor version down, and now it's going to be upgraded up to 28. After you have some helpful hints in the output, but we won't be running any of those commands because kubadem is going to take care of going through the different components and pulling the right images corresponding to the version 1.28.15. So this might take a while. You get the message telling us here, but I'll be cutting some parts of the video so that you don't need to wait. So it can go up to, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It depends on your system, on the size of your cluster. I mean, the size of your node. So I have only one controller node, but if you have more next upgrades, do not use, just communicate here in the terminal, do not use apply. Okay, so I already told you from now on, apply is just used in one controller node, and after we just use the upgrade node, not upgrade apply. Because we have one controller node with the latest version available in the cluster, all of the other ones can be upgraded to the same version. They'll be able to match it using the command upgrade node You will see it later on when I will be upgrading the worker node. So here upgrading to TLS for etcd. So you're gonna see all those different certificates. You see they've been renewed. Now you know the path, etc Kubernetes manifest etcd YAML. So in the previous video we had the cluster down because the certificates were expired. We could bring it back up. Okay, so now API server, you see we're passing through all those different core components of the control node. We did etcd, API server. Now we're going through kubelet. Kubelet is done. It's pretty quick. And now we're going through kube scheduler. Okay, we got this successfully. You get always a little message telling you the output is not two verbose, and at the same time we get the right messages that we want to see. After here, kube scheduler upgraded successfully. Okay, we see that there are some automatic backups created. Role-based access control, bootstrap, tokens, and it's done. Success. That's what we want to see at the end. So 1.28, if you want to go next, you go 1.29 and so on until you arrive to the latest version. So you need to be repeating this process for the full cluster, and you need to upgrade each controller and worker node using those minor versions. So here I'm just going to check. Let's check on the pods. Nothing wrong happened. Everything is running. Don't have any crashback loop. Okay, we get our IP addresses. We get the allocation of the workload in the controller node and the other ones. We can see that Agentic here, it's being deployed in node 1 and 2. Okay, so we don't need the documentation for the moment. kubectl get services. Might need to go Nginx namespace to see if it is still available. Yes, the service is still there. We still have the same port binding. Okay, let's just check if it is working fine. Should be alright. We don't have any signs in the terminal that is wrong. It's taking a while. Yes, finally we got it. Get daemon set kube proxy and kube system, and after we just go JSON path to go into the YAML file in the template container image, and here we can see the image of kube proxy have been updated to 128. You can pause the video and check. Please like and subscribe, and let's go to the next worker node upgrade. So how are we going to do that? We're going to first cordon that node. So node 1 Creditizens.net has been cordoned. After you need to drain the nodes. Drain means that the workload I forgot to do something here. Daemon sets, we need to ignore the daemon sets when we're doing the draining. So let me do it again. Let's uncordon, restart. Okay, recordon it. Ignore team and sets. After the other arguments, something empty dirs, delete empty data. What did I do? There's something wrong about the comment. Let me go back just to see the difference between what I've done before. I believe you might be frustrated if you see it, but I don't see it. Just go back. Okay, update, Madison, we change the keys, we check the versions, and hold, drain. I see. It's because I'm using uncordon while we need to drain the node. It doesn't work with uncordon. Okay, let me just change this to node 1. Okay, now we have the training process done, Calico, core DNS, Nginx. kubectl get pods. I'm switching terminals. It's okay. Because when I'm doing all wide, here I can see, it's clear. We can see it. Display is very nice because I didn't zoom in like in NeoVim. Okay, it's terminating. And we can see the container being recreated in node 2 and in the controller. Okay, so ignore daemon sets. That's an option that you need to have. Everything has been drained. Now we are in node 1. You can see on the top in the middle. That's how you can see in which node we are. On the left side in the terminal, you can see Creditizens at node 1. And we are gonna zoom in a bit. I'm just gonna install this because I have nothing in this node. apt update and sudo apt install curl. apt transport https. Just need to install that. So this is not part of the process of upgrading the cluster, but I need that to be installed. So here sudo nano, we're going to check on this file sources list d kubernetes.lists, and here we're going to add this line to have the right repository. We don't need to be struggling again. Now that we got the information, we do a sudo apt update. We know that it's not going to find everything, but it's pulling here the v128 deb repositories. So for the Xenial one, it's empty. So same here for the swaps. I'm going to do a little in etcd fs tab, we're going to change that. I'm going to put 1. And after here, we just need a sudo etc. I'm just going to show you overlay Kubernetes filter. So same as in the other one. In the other node, we need that to be set like that. Mine is already set because that's how I have created the cluster. I've kept it like that, I didn't change it. Because those nodes, they're dedicated to the cluster. Sudo mobprop overlay. Everything here is to set up the networking of Kubernetes, which is an abstracted network on the top of the nodes network, so that Kubernetes can communicate between those different nodes, have its own networking, internal one, cluster IP1 also. So what do we need to do? We need to unhold all those versions. So that's what we're going to do here. But first, let me just check the version. You see it's 1.27. Okay. Just going to go through those different versions. I don't know, sometimes there's a dash, double dash, sometimes not. So we're just going to check how. So the kubectl version, there's no double dash. Kubelet version, we see is 127. And kubelet 1.27 as well. So all of those need to be upgraded. We can check also containerd version without or with. Yes, 1.26. So this we're going to push it to 1.7. This is 1.6. Now we can do sudo apt -mark unhold. We're going to unhold those versions. We don't need to do it one by one. We can do it for all of those together. Now that we know how it works and what we need to do, we can shorten the time of upgrading. Okay, cancel the hold on each of those components. Sudo apt install. What is good is that we don't need to look for the version anymore. We know what is the version that we need. 1.28, 15-1.1. Put the little y. Couldn't find the version. So I have missed something. Let's just check the apt cache Madison for each of those, just to see if it is available or not. 28, no, you see it's not. Okay, I know why. Because we have added the list. We need to update, so I'm doing it again, but we need also to add the keys. So I didn't add the keys. It's very important. If you don't get the keys, you won't be able to see those versions available. So you're just pulling the names here, and now this command was missing. The gpg darmor archive keyring. Okay. So I'm going to update after that also. The following signature couldn't be verified because the public key is not available. So we're still on node 1, we wait a bit. That's why you need to have everything in your notes on the side with every single step so that you can update your notes when, for example, the repository change. So So the repository change, I've seen it by looking at the documentation of Kubernetes. So everything is there. 1.28 15-1.1, this is available. So I can do the upgrade now. I don't need to do a Madison check for all of those. And now it's going to be upgrading kubeadm, kubectl, and kubelet, one after the other. So the container runtime interface tools are going to be also upgraded with that. It's part of the package. That's when you upgrade kubeadm that you get the CRL tools upgraded. So we're gonna wait a few seconds together. So I wanted to cut some parts or to fast forward, but at the end I realized that I don't need to. So it's quick enough for us to wait, and at the same time you can be entering the commands into your terminal and reading the documentation on the side. While those 5 minutes didn't even last 5, maybe 2 minutes. Okay, now what do we need to do? We need to hold those versions now. Set on hold, okay? Now we're good. So now we need to see how we're gonna do. Containerd. I didn't upgrade Containerd. I need to do this upgrade also. Container. I know it was container.io, but I forgot how they wrote the version. So I'm just going to do this trick. I mean sudo, not sudo p. The little trick here is to just enter this command, and the output is so amazingly nice that we're going to get the right version. Okay. And after, I'm just going to change it. IO equal to this version, and we make the installation. Containerd.io, we're pulling this new version. We're going to be installing it. We just wait a few seconds, and after we're going to keep going. Unpacking. Okay. Let's check the version. 1.7.25. So we're good. Kubelet. kubectl. So we all have the right versions for those. And here 1.28.15. We get a little error message for kubectl because this node is not connected to the cluster anymore. But we are going to run the command here to have it running again. Upgrade node. So we have a permission denied. We might need here to enter sudo kubeadm upgrade node. So we did upgrade apply. So now that version is available, we can do upgrade node. Okay. skipping preferred, everything. Successfully updated, configuration. When there is a backup of kubelet also. And we have the path in etc Kubernetes TMP. We're going to restart kubelet and containerd. I believe just restarting kubelet is fine. Let's restart both container runtime and kubelet, and we can check the status. So green, activating. Just let me check it separately because I don't see the green points. Should be fine. Yes, kubelet is running. Failing to trigger manual. So for sure we're going to see some error messages because the node is cordoned. We close this. Sudo system ctl daemon reload and restart kubelet. You can do it also like that if you want. You can just do the systemctl on daemon reload. Just to show you the command that I've seen in the documentation. Now I'm back in the controller node. You can see on the top in the middle, control Creditizens at controller. On the left side in the terminal. kubectl get nodes, scheduling disabled, so the node is still not available. Node 1, but the version here has been changed. So the version of kubadem. Now we're going to uncordon node 1. So this needs to be done from the controller. You can do those commands from the worker nodes. Controller is the manager. Now we can check on the pods. So we can see on the right side node 1. See, I don't like the output here because I have zoomed. That's why I use sometimes the other terminal when I'm doing the videos. Okay, node 2 controller node 2 for Nginx. So we don't get anything on the node 1. So what we can do, I'm going to copy this pod name. I'm going to delete the pod so that it will be deployed on node 1, so that we have every single node having a replica. That's what is good with Kubernetes. If you get any issues with one pod, it's going to be redeployed automatically because we used a deployment. So replica sets in the deployment. And now it's been created. We don't know yet where it's going to be affected, but we wait a bit. And we're going to see this decision. So 9 JVKF. And JVKF, yes, has been affected to the node 1. Perfect. Okay. We have seen that we need to upgrade control plane first, then the worker nodes. I did one worker node. For the second one, the process is just a repetition. We do one node at a time to not disturb the workload. Pods already running. In production, for sure, there will be more to take into consideration, like toleration, affinity, requests, resources, usage, and so on. Would it be better to actually have a surge in node? Have more nodes, extra nodes on the top of the cluster while performing those upgrades. It could be a smart way of doing the cluster upgrade, but it depends on teams, project complexity, and the budget available. There are some more Kubernetes videos coming up. For the time being, let's stop here. Hope that you liked this video. Please like and subscribe and see you next time.